So the form of Akshara Brahm is true, real, true, endless, eternal, unique, Satchidananda, transcends Maya. Akshara Brahm is the pervader of all the jivs, all the tattvas, but itself is actually pervaded by PB, supporter and controller of all the jivs, Ishwar's Maya, an infinite universe, but he himself, Akshara Brahm himself, is dependent upon PB. The Anvay form of AB is eminent Chidakash. It pervades all Jivishramaya and its evolutes, and it's known to be formless. But when it is distinct from everything, including the Jivs Ishramaya and its evolutes, then it is known to be Vyatarik. The personified form of AB, divine abode of AB, that humbly serves PB in that divine form, and he is also in manifest form on earth. That is the Vyatarik form of AB as well. Sagun Nirgun aspects. Sagun aspects of an infinite liberating qualities, mere atoms, countless universes are mere atoms in front of Akshar. That is the vastness of Akshar. Anvay is Nirgun, Vyatarik is the abode itself. And it's Sagun is referring to the infinite qualities. Nirgun is the fact that it is devoid of all these mundane shortcomings. It has no flaw whatsoever and is very subtle, smaller than even an atom. While the Sagun aspect is larger than even the largest aspects, and this is due to the vastness of Akshar, not the fact that the Brahmans are actually small. It's just that the Akshar itself is actually so large. Sakar form, we know it has a form and it is manifest on earth, is servant in Akshardham. The Nirakar or the formless form is pure Chaitanya and it is also referred to as Chidakash. The Chidakash itself is one form, which is Anvay, all pervasive. It actually pervades all of the Jivs and Ishvaras, and countless millions of Brahmans actually reside in that Chidakash. It is eternal, it is endless. There is no expansion or contraction, is untouched by all these different Maya attributes. The abode himself, the abode itself, Dham is another form of Akshar Brahm, which is unfathomable. It's vast. It is filled with eternal qualities and divine qualities. You cannot visualize it. It's not describable. It's vast, infinite. It has a form. Countless Brahmans are within each and every core, Sachin Anand characterized by that as divine light. There's no influence of Maya. It is also referred to as Videha Mukti. It is the destination for these Jeeves and Ishwars when they go and are able to move away from Maya and actually reside in the abode of PB, which is the Dham itself. We also know that the third form is the eternal servant of PB in Akshardham, who is divine, human-like service, offering devotion and service to PB, and it is human-like with actual hands and feet. PB, the fourth form, is manifest on earth as the Gunadit Satpurush. He appears ordinary human, but harbors immense divinity and power, same as on earth as in Akshardham. And with his Akshardham, God is always accompanied by his Akshardham. He is not dependent upon Kalkar Maya, untouched by all these different Maya traits and his attributes, and he remains unchanged. Who is that Akshar Brahma in the form of the Satpurush? Well, Maharaj revealed that AB is Murti Shaban. He was initiated into the saintlyhood in the Dhavan Yagna. And end of the Dhavan Yagna, we have these many different scriptural references that does provide evidence and the proof that GS is AB. And there's an authentic letter that Shashi Maharaj writes to the devotees of Africa showing that GS is AB. Maharaj points the chari at GS saying Juga Juga Jivayava Chogi, illustrating that he is actually indeed AB. Tolkayampai, that GS is eternal abode, and we have many of these instances that prove that GS is AB. There's many different historical evidence as well. Mainly, the common theme here is Shikarwar Mandir, these inscriptions that write that GS is AB. There's a pillar in Gondal when GS was leaning towards when he was for support when he passed away, and the pillar has inscription that Aksharamurti GS while leaning. And we also know that Queen Mother of Gondar Memorial Shrine on spot in Gondar Field, where GS was cremated, and shrine is known as Akshar. Many other sadhus shrines are created, but none are actually known to be Akshar. In the old assembly hall of Junagadh, in the new assembly hall in Junagadh Mandir, there's a marble shrine with SM footprints. And all of these different marble shrines, inscriptions have markings that say Mul Murti and say and provide evidence for the proof that GS is actually AB. Form of Ishvars are real, eternal. They are actually characterized by Sachin Anand. They're active by their true nature. They are pure, enlightened, liberated, powerful, knowledgeable, content, uninfluenced by all the different Maya and above the three guns. But because due to their ignorance, they still stay within the Maya and still are engulfed within the Maya. They're real, eternal, infinite. They remain involved in the creation of universes until they are actually liberated. And when they are liberated, they join the Akshar with liberation. And then they can assist in the creation process. They can assist in the creation process only by the wish of Purushottam. The unveighted form of the Jiva is when it behaves one with its three bodies of Virat, Sutram, and Avikrut. When it is distinct from the three bodies and independent and characterized by Satchidanand, that is Vyatarika. Similarities and differences between Jivs and Ishwar, there are vast. There are vast similarities. Their similarity is that they're eternally Satchidanand, and they're eternally, by their true nature, they are bound. They are without deformity. And they're not bound by Maya by their true nature, But because due to their ignorance, due to their ignorance and attachment to their bodies, they are actually bound by Maya. Right? There's a vast difference. The power, lifespan, and knowledge for Ishwars are much, much, much greater than that of the Jivs. The Panchbhuts and Ishwars are Mahabhuts. They actually sustain the bodies of Jivs, whereas the Panchbhuts and Jivs are not capable of sustaining other bodies. Who is included in the Ishwar category? Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Pradhan Purush of each Brahman, avatars of Krishna, Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan, Nar Narayan, Virat Purush. Also, the deities that function as controlling, presiding deities of the five Mahabhuts are also referred to as Ishwars. The deities born by the wish of Brahma actually are from are of that of the Jiv category. Their power depends on PB, and they are powerless before AB and PB itself. Lifespan of Ishwars is equal to the lifespan of the universe, which is also known as the Dvipara, which is 2 times 10 to the 7th, as the lifespan of Ishwars ends at the time of dissolution of each universe. Ishwars leave their physical body, they're absorbed into Maya, they bear their Avikrut body, and only when creation then begins again do they actually become involved in the entire creation process. For ultimate liberation, then these Ishwars then take birth as a human on earth, and by associating with AB and PB do they transcend Maya and then eventually join Akshar Muts. And they are just like Jeeves, they are constantly in the cycle of births and death. They born and die in the creation process. When PB does want to initiate creation, they emerge and join in the creation process. But they go through this entire cycle until they finally attain ultimate liberation. The Jeeves form qualities and characteristics. It is a tattva that is distinct from the body, indriyas, and antakaran. Right? An aspirant should realize his own self to be distinct from the bodies and three bodies of God and Sthul Sukshma. But the Jiva, out of its own ignorance, believes that it is one with them. But that is not the case. The Jiva is unborn, ageless, immortal. It is eternal. Right? New Jivs are not created or destroyed. Right? They have always been this way since the beginning of time. Unliberated Jivs then discard their Sthula and Sukshma bodies and remain only with their Karana body dormant within Maya. And during the creation of the universe, then the Jivs then attach themselves to a Sthul body. And that Sthul body is granted by the Garbhas of that respective Jiv. So they are never created or destroyed. They are only awakened, and they only are merged back into Maya. Jivs are the embodiment of knowledge or knower. They know what to do. They know the fruits and the consequences of each of their actions. They have awareness. They have the quality of a Gnan. A Jiv knows. Right? That is the knowledge of awareness. It has consciousness. It is the size of an atom. Many believe, is it an atomic size, an intermediate, or omnipresent? It is atomic size. Knower, doer, enjoyer. It's doer of pious and impious karmas. It has the ability to choose what it wants to do, and it enjoys the fruits of those karmas in happiness and misery. It knows, and it also does, and it also experiences. So Gnan Trutva, Kart Trutva, and Bhog Trutva. Gnan, Kart, and Bhog are natural and expressed through the bodies. Indriyas and Antakaran are completely dependent upon PB, and they are not independent. Anvay and Vyatarika forms of the Jiv, similar to Ishwars. Anvay is when the Jiv behaves as if it is one with the three bodies of Sthul, Sukshma, and Karan. Through ignorance, while Vyatarika is when it behaves as the Atma distinct from the three bodies. There are infinite number of Jivs. The bound and liberating Jivs are infinite. But within each body, the residing Jiv, the Jiv entity is distinct, right? The Jiv entity itself is distinct, but there are innumerable number of Jivs. And why is that? Because there are innumerable number of karmas, innumerable distinct happiness and types of sorrows that each and every distinct Jiv can actually experience. And so because of that, each Jiv experiences its own happiness and sorrow based off on its own different karmas. Because it has different bodies and different circumstances, it performs different karmas. So there's infinite number of Jiv, but the entity, there's one entity, one Jiv entity, and the residing Jiv in each is distinct. They can be liberated or bound. And if they are liberated, there are two types of liberation. There's Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti, right? If there is bound, then they can either be pious or impious. Karman reincarnation, we have Kriyaman, Sanchit, and Prabha. The Kriyaman we know that are all righteous and unrighteous karma the Jiva is currently performing, right? Kriya, right? Karma, currently performing. Sanchit is the accumulated, all of the karmas that have been accumulated, the resulting good and bad karmas. The Prarabdha are the karmas that are shaped by PB on the basis of those Sanchit karmas, and PB is the giver of the fruits of those karmas. And according to those Prarabdha, the Jiva receives another birth, goes through the cycle of 8.4 million types of life forms until that jiva is actually liberated from its ignorant current body, which can only happen when through it has association with B and PB, and only after that do the bondage of karma and reincarnation no longer apply. Form qualities of Maya, the Maya Tattva, is that from which the astonishing and wonderful cosmos is created. It is also referred to as Moon Maya, Mahamaya. It opposes true knowledge. It's called, that is why it's called avidya or ignorance. Other words are Maya, avidya, Prakriti, and Mool Prakriti. Prakriti has three guns, Jad, and Chaitanya. It is eternal. It is Nirvishesh. It is the divine power of God. And now we'll go through the aspects of Prakriti / Maya. So three gun Atmak, it possesses the three gun Jad, Chit Atmak, so Mool Maya, it is actually inanimate, it is Jad, but everything within it are sentient, with it, which is animate. Right? So Muma itself, right? The idea, the concept of it, Maya itself is inanimate, is Jad, but everything that arises in it, that is within it, that is immersed within it, that is animate. It is nitya, it's eternal, it is eternal, it is not subject to change, it doesn't change, it is never created and it is not destroyed, it is a nirvishesh, it has a subtle form. Without a true manifest form, it is without any form. It is kshetra roop, it is the field, or it is a kshetra, right? Or it is the field for the creation of all the different physical forms of 24 elements of Jiva and Ishvara. All of these different elements and material pleasures and material things come from this type of mind. That is why it is the kshetra, or the field of the creation of all of these different physical forms. It is God's power, it's God's creative energy power that facilitates this creation of the universe, also known as Vismay Karini, right? Vismay Karini. You think of this as Vismay, allurement, delusion, attached. This is the typical definition of Maya that we know. It is attachment, bondage, material pleasures, production of attractive objects of enjoyments, all of these different things that cultivate enjoyment, cultivate pleasure, that falls within Vismay Karini. It is also the form of Tama. So darkness, obstacles that prevent Jeeves and natures from comprehending their own form, PB plus AB, fundamental cause of bondage and misery, and goes through the cycle of births and deaths. That is the form of Tamas. Form of the universe, principle of cause and effect. Sat Karya Vad is that the idea that the effect already exists in the cause. The cause manifests as the effect. The cause and the effect are identical. The effect is just a different state of the cause. Both of them are actually identical. So the same way a potter makes a vessel out of a clay, right? The material is the same. The clay is merely transformed into a different shape, right? And clay is merely transformed into a different shape in that of a vessel, but the substance itself is the same. So the effect is a different state or a different form of the cause. That is the principle of Sat Karya Vad. In the same way that this is the process and creation of the universe. When Mool Maya takes on a physical form, that is the universe. So the cause and effect are not distinct. It is merely a different formation. Both Maya and Mool Maya, both Maya or Prakriti, it gets transformed into the universe. And so there are two possible causes of an effect. So there's Upadan, right, which is material, and there's Nimit, which is efficient, right? Upadan, material causes when substance is when an object is created from a transformed substance. So the clay itself is that substance, right? That is the Upadan, the material cause. Now, whoever does indeed transform the substance, in this case the potter, that is the Nimit cause. So the PB is known as the Abhina Nimit Upadan, as he is both the Nimit and Upadan causes of the universe. PB creates the universe from an element of a Shri, but he himself remains immutable. In the same way, a spider creates a spider web, but he does not itself become entangled into the web. PB creates the entire physical universe from a single element of a Shri, but he remains immutable. And so we'll go through form of the universal process of creation. There is no selfish motives for creating the universe. It is out of compassion for the Jeeves in order to provide them an opportunity to be liberated from Maya. And he's able to do this with a mere thought. He's able to sustain and dissolve all of these different cosmos. So PB first has a wish to create the universe. Then he looks towards AB. AB then looks towards an Akshar Mukt. AB then makes Mool Purush aware of the wish that PB actually wants to create the universe. Mool Purush then unites with Mahamaya. Then Mool Prakriti is moved from her dormant state of equal balance of the three guns, and from that, infinite Pradhan Prakriti pairs are formed. And individual Ishwars / Purushes form a pair with each Pradhan Prakriti to form Pradhan Purush. And then from each of these infinite Pradhan Purushes, a Brahman is created to get to infinite Brahmans. And for each of those Brahmans, we have Mahatatvas that are formed, which evolve from Pradhan Purush. Those Mahatatvas then give rise to the three guns, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, from which the three types of Ahankars also emerge, which are the five cognitive, cognitive senses, four antahkarans, five subtle and gross elements. And all of the elements then form the physical body of Virat, and within which Ishwar enters with Purush to become Virat Purush. And within the navel of Virat Purush, for a single Brahma, Brahma manifests. From the heart, the Vishnu manifests. From the forehead, Shiv manifests. And this occurs for all the million types of Brahmans that we have. And from Brahma, all the other Prajapati deities, animals, birds, and all immobile and immobile forms are created. Now, dissolution, there are four types of dissolution. There's Nitya, these are the constant day-to-day deaths of bodies of humans. And the Upadhi of Jeev is actually conceived. There is the Nimit stimulated. The end of one day of Virat Purush, the 10 realms are destroyed, 4.32 billion human years. Prakrut Pralay, this is general dissolution. When Brahma's 100-year lifespan is completed, two years or 2 times 10 to the 7th human years, destruction of Brahma plus all realms are destroyed. All 24 elements and Pradhan Purush are absorbed into Maya. Then we have the ultimate liberation, ultimate destruction, which is of 2 times. There's Atyantik, which is Gnan Pralay, which is dissolution by knowledge. So when one overcomes all Mayic influences and dissolution of the entire universe through mental understanding in this very life while having a physical body. This is also known as being Jivan Mokt, which is a state of understanding whereby Prakriti and Purush and all of these different Mayic attributes do not matter and they do not influence this individual. Actual ultimate dissolution is when all of the Brahmas, not just single Brahma, not just 100-year lifespan of single Brahma, but all of the innumerable Brahmas are destroyed, and all except those in Akshardhama are destroyed, and all Mayic effects are then absorbed into Mool Maya. And this is from free will. PB can do this whenever he wants. Forms of attachment and liberation. So the Jeevs are actually pure, Sat Chit Anand by their true nature. And when they are both liberated, they experience pure Brahmic form and they attain liberation from these cycles of births and deaths, and they become Akshar Mukh. The form of bondage of a Jeev is that this Jeev is bound to the casual body. Right? It's essential. Maya, as we've discussed previously, is pure, it's free, it's distinct, it's detached from these 3 bodies. It does not have knowledge, but it does not have knowledge of its own form, that it is Satchitanand. It identifies itself with the Karan body due to its ignorance, due to the Vasana desires for Panch Vishays. That is the reason that the Jeev goes through all of these different 8.4 billion births and cycles, because due to the Vasana, because it identifies itself with the body. Now, the form of liberation is through association with AB. Jiva overcomes the ignorance and experiences original form and behaves distinct from the 3 bodies, and it changes his Gunatit state. He remains eternally blessed, freedom from all cycles of births and deaths, and removal of causes of misery, such as vasanas, svabhavas, and bodily attachments. Jivan is having liberation while having a body in bliss, highest state of enlightenment while having a body. Karan body is destroyed, attachment and desires are destroyed. He still has to face the consequences. So, but if God, due to God's grace, if one has to go through execution on truly, he can reduce that to just a pinprick. And so that is the grace of God, that the Jeev can be, the Jeev's punishment or the Jeev's future consequences can be reduced merely by the grace of God. Videha Mukti is the highest state of enlightenment after leaving the mortal body. If he does not experience Jivan Mukti in his final moments, his deficiency can still be removed by the grace of God. And when he goes there to AD, he attains a Brahmic form and a divine and Chaitanya body and becomes Akshar Mukh, like that of 2 arms. But they do not merge into B or PB, right? They become like AB, right? They attain a form like BB, but they do not become AB or PB, right? So the individuality is still maintained. So we'll stop there.